You weren't satisfying for them. Let's just say it. Not because it's comfortable, but because you've been dancing around it for months, maybe years, and somebody needs to finally look you in the eye and say what you already know. You weren't too much. You weren't too intense. You weren't too emotional or too needy or too complicated. You were just honest, and that terrified them because honest people are mirrors. Most people can't stand what they see when they look too long. So they left. And I know what that did to you. I know because you're here at this hour watching this video and you didn't search for it. It found you. The same way everything in your life that actually matters has found you. Through that quiet, aching gravity that pulls the right thing towards you at the exact moment you stop pretending you don't need it. This video isn't here to fix you. I need you to hear that. It's not a pep talk. It's not 5 steps to healing. It's not going to tell you to journal or meditate or go for a walk in nature. You've heard all that. You've tried all that. Some of it helped, some of it didn't. None of it touched the thing that actually hurts. The thing that actually hurts is simpler than anyone wants to admit. You gave yourself to people who didn't protect what you gave them. And now you're sitting in the aftermath wondering if the problem was what you offered or who you offered it to. It was who you offered it to, every single time. But here's where it gets complicated. You can know that intellectually. You can say it to yourself in the mirror. You can write it in your notes app at 2 a.m. And it still doesn't stop the ache. It doesn't stop that moment at 3 in the afternoon when you're doing something completely ordinary, making coffee, folding a shirt, and suddenly the weight of it hits you so hard you have to stop moving. Just stand there, breathing, waiting for it to pass. Nobody talks about those moments, the random ambush grief that doesn't announce itself. It doesn't come during the dramatic scenes. It comes in the ordinary ones. That's what makes it so disorienting. You're fine, you're fine, you're fine, and then you're not. There's no trigger you can point to. No song that played, no memory that surfaced. Just your body remembering something your mind has been trying to file away. Your body keeps the score. Someone smart said that once. But what they didn't say is that your body keeps the score even when the game is over, even when you've left the stadium, even when you've moved to a different city and changed your number and built an entirely new life. Your body is still sitting in the bleachers, watching the replay. That's not weakness, that's depth. The people who shrug it off, who move on in a week, who replace you before your side of the bed is even cold. They aren't stronger, they're shallower. They process life at the surface because they've never learned how to swim. You process it at the floor of the ocean because that's where you live. That's where you've always lived. The pressure down there would crush most people. But it hasn't crushed you. That's the part you keep forgetting. You're still here, after the betrayal that rearranged your understanding of trust. After the silence that was louder than any argument. After the moment you realized that the person you would have done anything for wouldn't even do the bare minimum for you. Still here, still breathing, still feeling, still open enough to be watching this right now and letting it in instead of scrolling past. If this message reached you exactly when you needed it, type, "I'm still here" in the comments. Not for me, for you, because you need to see yourself say it. Do you know how rare that is? To still be soft after everything that's tried to harden you? The world doesn't reward that. The world rewards the people who shut down. The ones who compartmentalize their pain into neat little boxes and stack them in a closet and never open the door. The world calls that strength, calls that moving on, calls that winning. You and I both know that's not winning. That's hiding. And you were never very good at hiding. You're wired for truth. Your system rejects dishonesty the way a body rejects a transplant that doesn't match. You can't fake fine. You never could. And every time you tried, it cost you something vital. So you stopped trying. People called that breaking down. It wasn't. It was breaking open. And there's a difference most people will never understand, because most people will never be brave enough to let it happen to them. Breaking down is collapse. Breaking open is expansion. One means something was destroyed. The other means something was released. And what was released in you had been trapped so long, you forgot it was even there. Your actual self. The one underneath the performance. The one who existed before you learned that love was conditional. Before you learned to shrink. Before you learned that your feelings were an inconvenience to the people who were supposed to hold them. That version of you didn't die. It just went underground. It's been waiting in the dark, patient, quiet, conserving its energy for the moment when you'd finally stop abandoning it the way everyone else did. That moment is now. I'm not saying everything changes tonight. I'm not going to insult you with some timeline. Healing doesn't work like that, and anyone who tells you it does is selling something. What I'm saying is the shift has already started. You can feel it. It's subtle, like the temperature change right before dawn when the air isn't warm yet, but it's stopped getting colder. Something has turned. Something in you has decided that the old way of surviving is no longer acceptable. You're not going back to sleep. Even if you wanted to, you couldn't. You've seen too much, felt too much. You know too much about what's real and what's performance to ever go back to performing. I know that's terrifying. At least the performance had rules. At least when you were pretending, you had a script. Now you're standing on a stage with no lines, no direction, no audience you're trying to impress. Just you, in the open, with nothing between you and the world but the truth of who you actually are. That's the scariest place a human being can stand. It's also the only place where real life begins. Everything before this was rehearsal. Every relationship that failed was teaching you what you won't accept. Every friendship that faded was showing you what real loyalty looks like by showing you its absence. Every night you spent alone, wondering what was wrong with you, was actually the universe clearing the room so you could finally hear your own voice without interference. Nothing was wasted. I need you to believe that, even if you can't feel it yet. The pain had a purpose, not a pretty one, not a comfortable one, but a real one, a structural one. It was rebuilding you from the foundation up, because the original foundation was poured by people who didn't know what they were doing. You can't build something lasting on a foundation that was never designed to hold the weight of who you're becoming. So it cracked, and you thought you were falling apart, but you were being renovated, gutted to the studs. A house mid-renovation looks like destruction, exposed wires, missing walls, dust everywhere. Walk in during the middle, and you'd think something terrible happened here. You're not in the middle anymore. You're closer to the end than you think. Not the end of the work. The work of being human doesn't end. But the end of the demolition. The part where things just keep falling away, and you can't stop it, and you don't know what's going to be left. That part is almost over. What comes next is the building. And you get to choose the blueprints this time. You get to decide what stays and what goes, who gets a key and who gets nothing but a locked door. That apartment in your chest where you used to let anyone crash, the one where people left their damage on your couch like dirty laundry and never came back to clean it up. You don't have to build that room again. You can build a home with a door that actually locks and windows you choose to open. That's not being closed off. That's being selective. Those are very different things. The darkness you've been sitting in wasn't a punishment. It was a cocoon. And I know how that sounds. But sit with it for a second. A cocoon isn't comfortable. The creature inside doesn't enjoy the process. It's dark. It's tight. Everything that used to make sense about your body and your world dissolves into something unrecognizable. If the butterfly could think, it would think it was dying. It's not dying. It's becoming. So are you. You didn't come here tonight by accident. Whatever algorithm, whatever scroll, whatever restless 3 a.m. energy brought you to this exact video at this exact moment. That wasn't random. You were meant to hear this on this night, in this season of your life. Because you're on the edge of something, and the edge always feels like the end. The edge of a cliff looks like death until you realize you have wings. You've had them this whole time. You just never had enough room to open them because you were always in somebody else's cage. That cage is gone now. It didn't feel like liberation when the door swung open. It felt like abandonment. It felt like loss. But the worst thing that could happen was staying. Another year of making yourself small enough to fit inside someone else's comfort zone. Dying slowly in a life that was never designed for someone like you. You're out now. The open air is terrifying because you're not used to it. But you'll get used to it. And then you'll wonder how you ever breathed in that tiny space. How you ever called that living. This is the night things start to shift. Not because I said so. Because you let yourself feel every word of this instead of deflecting it. That takes courage most people will never have. The courage to sit in the dark, to let it speak, to listen. You are not broken. You were never broken. You were just in the wrong rooms, surrounded by people who didn't have the depth to see you. Their blindness was never a reflection of your worth. It was a reflection of their capacity. You're walking into rooms now where people will see you immediately, where you won't have to explain yourself or justify your intensity or apologize for feeling things deeply, where your presence won't be a problem. It'll be the point. If this found you when everything felt heavy, leave a like so it can reach the next person sitting in the dark tonight. And subscribe. Not for me. For the next message that's already on its way to you, the one you'll need just as much as you needed this one. You made it through the night, every single one. And you'll make it through this one too, but for the first time, maybe you're not just surviving the dark. You're starting to see in it.